There are many independent evidences to know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a true messenger of Allah. Independently, it can be established. For example, just think about this, that if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a true messenger of Allah, then he would never command his people to offer these many salawat every day, fast in the month of Ramadan, an ibadah which is full of hardship, Hajj, 2.5% zakat every year. Because a man who wants to increase his circle and who wants to increase his fan following, he usually asks them to do easy stuff. You know, you do easy things and you are part of my gang, you're part of my group. But here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is commanding them that you have to change your entire life. You have to make it full of discipline. You have to pray 5 times every day. The first salah starts early in the morning, before the sun rises, and the last salah is after the sunset, Maghrib and Isha. It wasn't easy for those people to do it on regular basis, every day 5 times. It wasn't easy for them to fast for 30 days in the month of Ramadan. Imagine. And if you go to those countries where the weather is so hot, and think about this, that you're fasting, you're not able to drink, you're not able to eat anything for a number of hours. Why? So that you can follow Allah and you can follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It wasn't easy for those people, but they did it. So if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was lying, he would never ask his followers to do these difficult ibadat. He did it. It shows that his purpose was never to increase the number of his followers. It shows that his purpose was never to increase his circle, his fan following. That is an independent evidence of his truthfulness. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a true messenger, if he was not a true messenger, he would easily compromise with people. You know how many enemies he had? The mushrikeen in Mecca were his enemies. The Jews of Medina were his enemies. The Christians of Najran were his enemies. The people around the Arabian Peninsula were his enemies. And they are all thinking that what's wrong with this guy? That here he criticizes our gods and goddesses. Then he criticizes our traditions, our forefathers. What's wrong with this person? Why is he saying whatever he's saying? So they threatened him. They offered him a lot of money, leadership, women. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never compromised with any of those. If Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam was not a true messenger, he would have easily accepted all of those things. If his purpose and goal was to become the leader of mushrikeen, the leadership was offered to him, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could have easily accepted that by the mushrikeen. Mushrikeen came to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam and they said, "Oh Muhammad, if you want, we can offer you the most beautiful woman of Arabian Peninsula, and if you want, we can make you the wealthiest person." But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that even if you bring me the sun on my right hand and the moon to my left hand, I would still decline your offer. So people who are liars, who are imposters, they always compromise. They never stick to their principles. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never compromised. That shows that he was a true messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a true messenger, he would either do exactly what everyone else in the ummah was doing, or he would do less. But here we find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam doing more efforts. Imagine if somebody is an imposter and he's just simply trying to make people follow him on his wrong path, false path. He would at his home, he would not do all of those ibadat. But here we find that people, everybody, they pray 5 times. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam regularly prays 6 times. Salatul Tahajjud, he made it compulsory on himself. Everybody fasts for 30 days and he fasts almost entire Sha'ban. And he would fast every week. And when he would start fasting, Sayyidah Aisha radiyallahu anha says that he would never stop. If he would never now stop, and he will fast forever. And while fasting, he would not do iftar. He would not eat a single date, or he wouldn't drink water. That's how difficult his fast was. Now think about this. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was simply increasing his fan following, he wouldn't do Salatul Tahajjud at home, and he wouldn't do Sawmul Wisal, it's continuous fasting. This shows that Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam was the true messenger of Allah. If Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was not a true messenger, he would have been killed and assassinated. Assassination of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was so easy. Look at the number of his enemies. The entire Quraysh, the internal enemies and the external enemies. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Makkah didn't have bodyguards. What someone can say, well, Abu Talib was supporting him. Abu Talib was an elderly person. His support for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was symbolic. But people could have easily killed him, because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's da'wah, his propagation of deen, was not only against mushrikeen. It was against Jews. It was against Christians. It was against all false system of this world. Every false system of this world, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood up against it. So the enemies, whether from Makkah or Medina, or from Najran or Yemen, or from Taif or from Tabuk, they could have come and killed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam very easily. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam would go to the haram alone. But because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said, Wallahu ya'asimuka minan nas, Allah will protect you from the people. They will never be able to harm you. They will never be able to kill you. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would go around alone. Nobody was able to assassinate Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If it was someone else, like people who claim to be prophets during the time and after the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Aswad Anasi was killed, Musaylama Kazzab was killed, and several other false imposters and prophets, they were killed. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was protected by Allah.